Hey guys, it's Core Ross and welcome to 6 News. Today we have the mid-season designer notes. So this is all about the big patch that'll be coming for the mid-season, and this one introduces a lot of balance and patches. So it's no longer like the mid-season reinforcements we used to get where it was reworks of operators to make them more relevant again. That now happens at the beginning of a season, but they're not afraid of jumping in and doing a lot of balance and changes. So this is what this is all about. So they've actually got an AMA right now going on the Rainbow Six subreddit, so you can go check it out. There's a link in the description below to this article, and of course you can then click this to go check it out. So we're going to go over everything in here, and there's a lot to go over. So of course we've seen these graphs earlier in the year, but now they've been updated for Year 3 Patch 2, so of course this season. So we can see Finka is very much up there. She's underpicked, but she's very powerful. We can see Ash is kind of still over here in the overpicked and too strong category. We can see Lion still doing pretty good. We got Blitz, IQ, Blackbeard, Glaz, Dokkaebi all doing pretty well, I would say. Quite powerful operators. Sledge managing to be the perfect operator. He's like the poster boy of Rainbow right here. We got Sophia pretty close. And you can see down here, Hibana has really dropped down. You can see Montang's over here, and Capital, Jackal, Thatcher quite close together. So let's take a look at the defenders. The defenders are very interesting. This is actually really surprising because we got Capcan and Frost. I freaking love both these operators, and I really enjoy playing them. And I can't believe they're so low. Like, unbelievable. I'm really surprised by that. And we got the Chichanka holding his usual meme position there. Castle, obviously, as well, not doing too good. And we can see, interestingly, Rook is up here. I'm amazed by that, actually, how high he is. Cav doing pretty well. Alibi not doing too bad at all. Up there with Ella, really good. Vigil got a little nerf last time around, so he's dropped a little bit, but still doing pretty good. Of course, we've got our German buddies here kicking ass. And then we don't really have actually a operator in the center, but there's quite a few quite close to it. So that's interesting. So this is what they use obviously to balance operators to see how they're doing. So this is ranked, PC, Platinum, and Diamond for both these graphs. So that's where they get the data for these graphs, and basically taking the best players possible and then trying to figure out how to balance to get the operators as close as they can to the center. So the upcoming changes, there's a lot of them, and there's more than we've seen in the last test server. So let's go over them. So of course we've got Finka up first. So her ability is getting reduced from 20 seconds to 10 seconds. So a massive nerf there. But then she's getting frag grenades to kind of boost her a little bit. Because if we go back to here, she is, when it comes to win rate, doing very well. But people aren't actually picking her that often. So what they want to do is nerf her ability, but then give her frags, because it might be that more people will pick her because she's got frag grenades. They're also reducing the smokes, gas canister, damage modifier. They're reducing that a little bit because in the Pro League, smoke is used a lot, and basically means it's very bad if you bring a Finka along. So they're nerfing the actual damage output, but still, it will still do the increased damage. So I don't see the Pro League picking it up, but we'll see how it goes. And the aim down sights modifier for Adrenaline Rush reduced from minus 50% to 25%. So they've halved the ability time that it lasts for, but they've also reduced one of its boosts as well. And they talk here about trying to achieve two things. So they want her to be more popular, but they also want her to be weaker, because they don't want her to be OP, but they do want more people to play her. So they're giving her frags to make her a bit more appealing, but they've gone and nerfed her ability to try and make it so that she's going to lower that win rate down. And like I said, Finka is currently not used in the Pro League because the boost increases, and this is for your entire team, smokes gas canister damage. So they're reducing that down. It's still going to be more than normal, so I don't see the Pro League probably picking up Finka, but we'll see. Next up, we've got IQ. So IQ, this is one of the most interesting ones when I read this already. So frag grenades are being replaced with claymores because they think she's too good at killing. You know, she's a 3-speed, really good weapon. So they think they want to get rid of the frags, give her some more utility rather than fragging power. so she's going to have a claymore instead. And her electronic detection is going from 20 meters to 15. The reason is there's just so many things for her to detect now that she gets more and more powerful every single season. So that's why they're kind of taking that away. But overall, they actually make this comment down here, which is we will have more dramatic changes for IQ in the distant future. That to me sounds like a rework of IQ, like a significant rework. You know, people have always asked for like our sensor to be added to our gun or something like that. We could maybe be looking at something like that, reworking that gadget's ability, how it works, and that could change how you play IQ entirely. But distant future probably means at least 2 seasons away, I would think. No, no less than that. I think 2 seasons, so something maybe in the middle of next year, perhaps. But that is very exciting. Then we got Blackbeard. So Blackbeard, they actually think he's in a good place in terms of power. And they don't want to make him stronger. But they want to make him a bit more appealing and comfortable. So what they've done is they've increased the MK17's damage. They've reduced the SR25 damage because they found that too many people were using this gun and not this gun. So they've gone and buffed it and tried to balance it out so they'll get picked a bit more 50-50. We'll see if that works out. And the shield hit points on the rifle reduced from 60 to 50. Now, that 10 HP pretty much means nothing in the game. So it's not really that much of a nerf to his shield. But of course, it adds insult to injury. And 30% reduction in movement speed penalty when the rifle shield is equipped, so you'll move a little bit faster. So, pretty interesting for Blackbeard. They want people to actually play him more, but he's going to get a little buff and a minor nerf as well. It is interesting. Like, this is the thing, the balancing team has to try and balance these up pairs as best they can. Otherwise, it's going to end up being a total clusterfuck. So, this is an interesting one. Glaz is getting his rifle reduced in damage. So, straight nerf right there. Because they think that he's pretty much useful in every situation. And he's too strong in Pro League. So, that's his weapon getting reduced in damage. That sucks for him. I've actually been playing him a ton recently. And, yeah, that is going to suck. But we'll see how that goes. That's a very simple change, just to weapon damage, so we'll see how that plays out. Another one that's very simple is Twitch. So her FAMAS is getting reduced in damage as well. So she's actually pretty close to Ashe with pick rate. So they don't want her to be any stronger than she currently is. Of course, Ashe is very powerful. So they're trying to make it so that she's not too good. So a little reduction in damage for Twitch. Not much. Only a couple of points of damage, but you might take a touch longer to kill someone. This is interesting. Jackal's getting a little buff. So they're going to, and I can agree with this. I don't really play Jackal at all now. I actually forget he even exists most of the time. And when I'm actually up against an enemy player who's Jackal, like a good one, I think they do really well. Whereas I just stay away from Jackal entirely now. I've just totally forgotten he even exists. So they're actually going to increase the scanning distance for the footprints. You don't need to get as close to them to scan them, which will mean you don't have to reveal as much of yourself when you're scanning them. So that might make him a bit more... He's not really... to me, it's probably not going to have me picking Jackal. Like, I do love his weapons and all that. But, yeah, I don't see this making me pick him more. But we'll see. Now, of course, this was a surprise for me, was looking at Frost. Like, Frost and Capcan way down here. Couldn't believe how low they are. Two of my favorite ops, and they're so low. Can't believe it. So, Frost is getting a really nice buff. Both her weapons, SMG and Super 90, are getting damage increases, which is wonderful. And anyone who plays Frost is going to freaking love that. So that is awesome. And yeah, apparently she is extremely weak. So, yeah. They're looking to increase her fun so that people want to pick her more. And apparently our SMG is a little bit too difficult to play with. So we want to reward those who have mastered. So if you're better skilled at shooting with her gun, then you're getting a major reward by getting that really nice damage increase. And they also want to increase our shotgun's power a bit. But don't worry, we won't be doing the same thing during that they did for Black Ice. So Black Ice, basically her shotgun was a sniper, so they're not making it that powerful, unfortunately. And this is interesting. She will probably need more extensive work done to make her as viable as some other operators, but that is something that we'll be looking to do in the distant future. That again sounds like a rework. I don't know what they would do. They'd have to make our traps, I don't know, more hidden perhaps. I don't know, like I kind of did with Capcan. So yeah, it sounds like Frost might be getting a rework again. Distant future. I think that's, you know, distant future. I think is more than 2 seasons away. So maybe middle of next year. Then we've got Dokkaebi. Her Claymore is getting replaced with stun grenades, which sucks for me because I freaking love Claymores. I even have a Claymore on Glaz. You know, I should have smokes, but I have a Claymore because I love Claymores. But she will keep her smoke grenades, so that's great for anyone who wants to team up with Glaz. Good combo there. And but having smoke grenades and Claymores led to her having a bit too much utility. So instead, she's getting those stun grenades instead. And yeah, she became extremely strong in Parabellum as a result of Maestro and the addition of cameras that defenders have access to. Which is totally true. All those new cameras, like Dokkaebi can hack into and watch, really handy. So it did make Dokkaebi way more powerful. Barbed wire is getting a buff. So the slowing effect increased from 45% to 50%. So they want it to be of more viable in all aspects, which is good. It definitely still needs to slow the game down a little bit. So this is not much of a difference, like that. What's that, like part of a second? You know, you're running through barbed wire. It's not going to slow you down that much. But barbed wire, of course, was nerfed in the past to be down to 2 hits, so it's still going to be remaining 2 hits. And then they go over the current status of operators. So Alibi. So they seem to think Alibi right now is too good. So she's a little bit too strong. So basically, Alibi is going to get nerfed in the future. Some sort of thing with Alibi. I don't know what they're going to do. Probably take away maybe a hologram, reduce weapon damage, something like that. So I think Alibi is going to get a bit of adjustment later on. Maybe beginning of the next season, perhaps. Which is only just like a month away. It's crazy. Maestro. So he is currently apparently in a really good place for both ranked and professional. And they think he might be a touch too good for Pro League, but it's just too early to tell. So right now Maestro is apparently doing a very, very good job. So he's one of those operators that's actually quite good balance at the moment. Then Ash, Twitch, Jaeger, and Bandit are all considered to be too good with high pick rates. And of course, we have a nerf to Twitch. Our weapon's getting worse, but they're looking to do more. So yeah, basically all these operators here are probably going to be getting some sort of nerf in the future. They're obviously still having a trouble figuring out how to nerf Ash. But there's a big nerf coming for her someday, I'm telling you. So based on their learning from the past few months, we will take our time before making any dramatic changes. Dramatic. That sounds like these guys might be getting some major nerfs, like serious nerfs in the future. You know, drastic changes. That is, that's major. And they say a few months, so that would probably be the next mid-season patch. Because obviously we've got the Paris Majors next month. That's when the new operators will be announced. Then we'll have a test server, and then we'll have the new patch come out. So a few months doesn't figure into that. So I'm thinking maybe the next mid-season patch. But it sounds like these guys are getting some major nerfs and some dramatic nerfs apparently. So we focus on making other operators as comfortable and fun to play as these 4. So that would be great. It would be great if we had a lot of characters actually up at these guys' level. That would be awesome. So Frost and Capcan. This is interesting as well. So we've observed in the past few updates that Capcan and Frost tend to move up and down in the wind delta axis in tandem. So they're going down and up together as the seasons go on. Now I think the reason for that probably is players coming back into Rainbow after like a break, and maybe there's an influx of players. Like there's currently a challenge for free alpha pack, so I bet there's a whole influx of old players coming back in just to get that kind of challenge done, and then they'll piss off again. So probably, I would think over this week we're probably going to see actually their win delta go up, because all these old players are coming back in who've totally forgot about Capcan traps and frost traps and keep getting in trouble with those devices. So I think that's maybe what's happening, but they still say this is understandable as they are both trap operators, but we are not sure what has caused such a drastic drop in their win delta. We're going to investigate further to try and figure it out. And Castle. So yeah, I think we all agree Castle needs a major rework. He needs to be made viable. You know, I'd love to have a Castle that I can play, because his ability's got such great potential, but it ends up being a liability to your team most of the time, rather than being useful to your team. So I really want to see Castle getting fixed. They still say no ETA, so that probably means it's not going to be a rework at the beginning of the next season, unfortunately. So yeah, they do say we have an idea for what we would like to do, but it's currently in the backlog. Yeah, so with no time frame or when work on it will begin. So they haven't even begun. So at least they have an idea, but it totally sounds like that's at least one more season away. So maybe with the Moroccan CTU, when it gets added in later in the year, but kind of November, maybe that's when we'll get a Castle rework. But from the sounds of it, it could even be further away than that, which sucks. Like I said, the AMA is on right now. If you're watching this video when I upload it, but it might be done by the time you actually watch this. So you can go check and see what all the answers and questions were. Of course, there is no mention of Chachanka, even though he's sitting his fat ass right in the corner here, right in the very worst place. Not a single thing. Not even a weapon buff. Note. So he is sitting down here, just being the meme master of Rainbow Six Siege and not getting any buffs. It is interesting though. Like, attackers are doing not too bad, but then we have 4 defenders that just seem to suck. That kind of sucks overall. I'd love to see, you know, more of a even spread. You can see though that there is more defenders up in this top half than there is with the attackers here. You can definitely see there's a whole bunch of attackers just stuck down there, where there's only like 5 down here. And there's much more here. But Ledge is showing us how it should be done. This is the perfect operator right here. Ledge. Perfect. And apparently there's no one on defense in that spot. We need someone. We need like a volunteer. Like, who could it be? Mira would be good. Mira could be right there. That'd be nice. So yeah, there we go, guys. That's the liner notes for year 3, season 2.2. So it's the mid-season. And I guess we'll get actual patch notes for this not too long. And we'll be able to see exactly if that, because we seen from the last patch notes there's a bunch of stuff missing. So of course this has a lot more than the last patch notes did for the last test server, but it might be there's some hidden stuff in there that we'll have to test. So we'll see. Anyway guys, thanks for watching and I'll catch you next time.